once we saw the demand was there, the need um, in the market was there, um, we just went for it. And having built up the relationships with the factories over the years definitely helped.
For every person on the front lines, there are groups standing behind them, supporting them. Now, they may not be as visible, but their contribution is equally important. Hi, my name is Andre Chandra, founder and CEO of Propelo Media. Leaders rise up in challenging times. In today's Ask an Expert series, Eric Chen, general manager at Fossa Apparel, stops by. His company is a family-run outerwear manufacturer based in California. As the outbreak hits and the shutdowns came, he saw demand for his normal products quickly disappeared, but was soon replaced by another, protective cloth mask for people on the front lines. Listen to his story on how this presented a whole new set of challenges that he and his team must solve in a very short period of time so he can help provide the protection that others need.
All right, Eric Chen, thank you for joining us on the show here. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Maybe you can introduce yourself and what you do.
Eric Chen, like you said, and I'm the general manager of Fossa Apparel. We are um, a outerwear supplier in the promotional products industry. So
Hmm.
we sell to distributors who then resell to companies and across the country and events and conferences.
Got it. And the apparel that you're making so far that range from jackets to polo shirts to hats and t-shirts and all of those types of apparel?
We're kind of niche. We're more focused on outerwear, so mainly jackets, some lighter weight, some heavier weight, and vests. We do have some shirts as well, but our primary focus is on outerwear.
Got it. Got it. Now, before we begin, I heard that since the outbreak, Fossa had to pivot very quickly from manufacturing apparel to masks. Can you share your story, how it went?
Yeah, so when the virus hit and the subsequent shelter-in-place orders were issued, um, everything just stopped very quickly. As you can imagine, people were not going out. A lot of people were not able to go to work. Events and gatherings were not happening. So, the orders just completely stopped coming in. Last kind of during pandemic, no one's buying promotional products, right? So it was very scary for us as a business, also for our people. But then we were getting a lot of requests from clients for these masks and kind of protective gear. Um, so we realized, oh, if everyone's asking for them, it's in such a high demand, there must be a shortage of supply. And us being apparel manufacturers, we're having connections to garment factories overseas and fabric mills. It was we were able to relatively quickly get our factory up to speed on producing masks instead of jackets and what we usually produce. And so it was really a good way to kill two birds with one stone, able to sell masks in the meantime and kind of sustain our business, and very fortunately not having to lay off any of our employees,
Hmm.
and also at the same time just get more masks out there, get them more widely available, get masks in people's hands. Hopefully it'll make a difference in the fight to help stop the spread of COVID-19.
Right, right. Now, for your outerwear apparel, uh, did you manufacture everything from scratch stateside, or is it a combination of, importing them from overseas and then do some light alterations over here before you actually distribute them?
Yeah, we manufacture them overseas and we import them here, and we would do branding here. So we would do customers custom logos and other kind of embellishments on the products here in the U.S.
Got it. So when you switch to masks, did you also have to import some of those materials from overseas? I just want to see what it's like with the, kind of the import flow, especially these days when everyone's borders are up.
Yeah, we import them in the very beginning when we are just starting doing masks. We just import them and sell them as blanks because everyone just wanted them like yesterday. We weren't worrying about putting logos on them, and people just want to have some kind of protection. So we were just importing them and wholesaling them from here.
Got it. Got it. And have you seen that maybe in the very beginning, there's still some good flow coming in, but as COVID spreads and it got, where as you kind of went into the middle part of this pandemic, was it getting harder and harder getting items through the port?
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I mean, with these masks, we were air shipping them in for the sake of time.
Right.
And usually airship is 2, 3, 4 days, and you would get them here. And we were getting shipments in like 20 days later. Some shipments were getting delayed for as far as 20 days because all the flights were stopped. There was limited flights, and then there's this sudden surge of everyone wanting to import all kinds of personal protection equipment in. So it was FedEx, UPS, and all the major carriers were pretty overwhelmed. It was,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So there's this whole demand that you're having, but at the same time, these shipments do get delayed.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now, this is such a fascinating story where you had to kind of pivot very quickly.
Mhm.
Was that kind of a big undertaking to be able to retool and restructure all of your kind of manufacturing setup to be able to pivot to this new demand?
It wasn't a huge undertaking because we were working with garment factories before already and fabric mills, and we have access to workers who are skilled in cut and sew, and so it wasn't terrible, but it was still a learning process, definitely, to figure out, what's the most efficient way to make a mask while still keeping respectable filtration levels, and what materials we should use. So there was still definitely some learning process, some hiccups along the way, but it was definitely, since we're used to working with fabrics and cutting and sewing already, it was definitely easier than for someone like a pen manufacturer or electronics manufacturer, for example.
Right, right. Well, sounds like you did a great job being able to pivot in such a short time. In hindsight, what were the top things that kind of prepared you to pull this off? And because as you mentioned in the very beginning, there's a lot of unknowns. It was a bit of a scary time. So looking back, what what qualities or what past experiences prepared you for this?
Um, well, number one, like having the relationship, in the industry and the access to the right factories, was a huge factor. And also just us being a smaller business, we're a family-owned business. So we're pretty agile, when it was just kind of sometimes a lot of times we make decisions over dinner tables and we got to do something, we move, we go. And, so us being a small business in a very nimble position definitely helped. Once we saw the demand was there, the need in the market was there, we just went for it. And having built up the relationships with the factories over the years definitely helped.
Gotcha. Got it. Got it. Now, as of today's taping of the show, we've had some states reopen, and both of us here in California have heard that some counties have started to reopen on a limited basis, right? So, in terms of your post-COVID, comeback strategies, are there particular signals that you're looking for, and what do you plan to do first?
Well, I think the first and foremost, obviously, is the safety of our workers. If we were able to, if we're allowed to, fully resume operations, we definitely have to make sure we have all the safety measures in place in order to do that safely. And I think from a revenue standpoint, the signal that really shows, okay, we're kind of back to normality, would be when large gatherings are deemed safe again, when people are able to, congregate in large numbers, conferences, events, because that's the pretty much the biggest market in our industry. So until is going to happen again, I think people are not going to be buying very much promotional products.
Got
Um, that's the number one key, and I think vaccines. Once we do have a vaccine for the virus, I think that's when people start to normalize, and the craze about the protection gear will die down and kind of go back to normalcy.
got it. Got it. Now, have your clients started talking about outerwear apparel again,
No,
or is everyone kind of playing this wait and see mode, trying to watch the same signals like you mentioned before they can start talking about, okay, let's have these promotional products made for us again.
yeah, I mean, not much talk. Resuming on that end for sure. People are still, definitely wait and see, and just monitoring the status of the virus. Um, yeah, large events are definitely still not happening. So when there's a date for those things to start happening, I think is when we'll start hearing people talk about, okay, I'm looking to buy things for that event or conference. And yeah,
Right,
it might be a couple of months, might be towards the end of the year. It's just kind of up in the air right now. And in the
right,
meantime, we can, produce and sell masks, and um, hopefully you'll be able to sustain ourselves, and also just help against the spread of the virus.
right, right. Yeah, so we kind of experienced the same thing as well. All of the shows and conventions that we have been looking at or attending, they're all pushed back at least until the fall, and even then, it's it's a it's like a temporary reset date, and we'll know more as the date gets closer. So yeah, is there anything else that I haven't asked that you'd like to share?
I just want to say, it's great that you're doing this format, and still getting people connected in the way now everyone's isolated, and to be able to see what other business owners or small businesses are doing in this time. Kind of get a sense of connection, and knowing that you're not in this alone. Kind of everyone's experiencing this together. So I think it's great.
Right. Okay. Well, Eric, thank you so much. I really appreciate your candor and you sharing these stories. I just want to wish you and your family and Fossa the best of luck. I think you did a great job being able to just transform your business to and I think you mentioned it. This is the survival mode, and but I believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So you can thrive after all this is done.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you, Andre, and all the same to you as well.
All right. Thank you so much.